Craziest Human Experiments, Part 1. 1951, Dr. Albert Kligman began experimenting on prisoners of a Philadelphia prison. For over 20 years, he conducted experiments using eye drops, deodorant, hair dyes, and many other products. Though these were voluntary, these included many painful procedures and biopsies. The creepiest thing is what he told a news reporter. He said, "All I saw was acres of skin. It's like a farmer seeing a field for the first time." The Craziest Human Experiments, Part 2. The year was 1822 on Mackinac Island in Michigan, when a fur trader was accidentally shot in the stomach. He survived thanks to Dr. William Beaumont, but was left with a hole in his stomach that never healed. Took this opportunity to explore the digestive process, and began experimenting on the fur trader. He would tie food to a string and insert it through the hole in his stomach, removing it every few hours to observe it, ultimately proving that digestion is a chemical process, not a mechanical one. The Craziest Human Experiments, Part 3. Project 4.1. Back in 1952, the natives of Marshall Islands were accidentally exposed to radiation. This was due to the US government testing thermonuclear weapons. Instead of letting them know, they sat back, studied, and watched. The first 10 years showed little to no effect on the community. But after that, things got ugly. Thyroid cancer in children skyrocketed. And by 1974, almost a third of the islanders developed tumors. People of the island believe this was no accident. A report from the Department of Energy states that they were being used as guinea pigs for a radiation experiment. Craziest Human Experiments, Part 4. Unit 731. This was a Japanese biological warfare unit in WW2. What began innocent as a research and public health agency turned very grim. This is just one of the many atrocities that occurred at Unit 731. This man, Yoshimura Hisato, was a physiologist at the unit. He took a special interest in hypothermia. He would submerge prisoners' limbs in ice water until they were frozen solid. According to one eyewitness, the limbs sounded like a plank of wood when struck with a cane. He also tried many different methods for rapid rewarming of the appendages, such as dousing it with scalding water, leaving it by an open fire, or just leaving it untreated to see how long it took the blood to thaw. Craziest Human Experiments, Part 5. From 1913 to 1951, eugenicist Leo Stanley was chief surgeon at San Quentin State Prison. He believed that the effects of aging and decreased hormones contributed to criminality. He began transplanting the family jewels of younger men to older men to restore their masculinity. He first began by using the ones from executed prisoners, but supply ran short. He then switched to directly implanting the jewels from deers and goats right onto patients. And when that had complications, he began to grind them up into a paste and inject them directly into the abdomens of prisoners. The Craziest Human Experiments, Part 6. The Gruesome Beheading Experiments. Throughout the 19th and 20th century, French doctors investigated whether freshly executed victims stayed alive moments after their death. One notable case was that of Charlotte Corday, who was publicly executed in 1793. According to reports at the time, her severed head was lifted up by the executioner and slapped across the face. And to the shock of the crowd, the victim's face apparently blushed and appeared angry. Another famous case in 1905 where a man shouted at a severed head and it apparently responded back. Their main goal was to find out how long a human head remained conscious after death. The Craziest Human Experiments, Part 7. The Tragic Story of Hisashi Aogi. Aogi worked here at the Tokamura nuclear plant when on September 30th, 1999, a terrible accident occurred. Him and two other technicians were exposed to deadly levels of radiation, with his tragically being the worst. Upon arriving at the hospital, he had severe radiation burns across his whole body, a near zero white blood cell count, and severe damage to his internal organs. He underwent a revolutionary cancer treatment as well as many skin grafts and blood transfusions. After a week of treatment, he told the doctors, "I cannot take any more. I am not a guinea pig." Even so, the treatment continued. By the 59th day, he had 3 heart attacks in 1 hour. And on the 83rd day after his admission, he died of multiple organ failure.